My wife's stalker followed her everywhere, so I made sure he had nowhere left to go. My wife Sophie had an Uber driver called Tate who treated every ride like a first date. And I don't mean that in the friendly, great customer service kind of way. I mean it like he memorized her schedule, canceled other riders to get her requests, and somehow became her only driver 8 times in 2 weeks. At first, Sophie thought it was just bad luck. Tate would adjust his mirrors to watch her in the back seat and compliment her outfit every single ride. He knew which apartment building we lived in without her ever telling him. Then he started texting her through the app after drop-offs with messages like, "You looked beautiful today," and "That dress really suits you." Sophie showed me the messages, and we both agreed it was creepy. When she reported him to Uber, they gave him a warning and said they'd make sure she wouldn't get matched with him again. 2 days later, he started showing up at her workplace claiming he was picking up another passenger who mysteriously never appeared. He cornered her outside the building and asked, "Why did you report me? I thought we had something special." She walked away in a hurry, but Tate didn't give up. He sent her friend requests on all of her social media, mentioned details about her day that he could only know if he'd followed her everywhere, and kept sending her messages from random numbers telling her they were meant to be. The breaking point happened 2 weeks later. I came home early from my ER shift at 2 a.m. and found Tate's car parked across from our apartment. Sophie was inside terrified and showed me our doorbell camera footage. He'd been there for 3 hours walking around our building and checking windows. The footage showed him trying our door handle multiple times and peering into our ground floor windows. Sophie was shaking as she told me what he'd texted earlier that day. "I know where you live. I know when your husband works. Stop ignoring me or I'll make sure he finds out about us." He'd also sent a photo of her walking into her prenatal appointment at her OBGYN office. My 7 months pregnant wife was jumping at every sound from how scared she was. I held her while she cried and felt rage building in my chest. The police would need hard evidence of immediate threat, and Uber clearly couldn't stop him since he kept making new accounts. That's when I decided to handle this myself. Nobody terrorizes my pregnant wife. I called my 3 cousins who worked construction and had dealt with their sister's stalker a few years back. We found an abandoned warehouse on Industrial Way where one of them used to work night shifts. Through Sophie's co-worker who worked in tech, we discovered Tate's real identity. He'd been fired from 2 previous rideshare companies for similar behavior. The plan was simple. Sophie would text him from a burner phone pretending to finally give in. She'd say her car was parked inside the warehouse and she needed to talk where nobody would see them, which is when I'd intervene. Once everything was prepared, Sophie sent the text. "It's Sophie. My husband is at work. Meet me at this warehouse. My car is inside. I need somewhere private." He responded in less than 2 minutes, saying he'd be there in 20. Sophie went to her sister's house while I waited in the warehouse with my cousins positioned by each exit. Tate pulled up and sat in his car for 5 minutes checking his phone and looking around. Finally, he got out and walked to the warehouse door calling out, "Sophie?" He stepped inside cautiously, but when he saw her car parked in the middle, he rushed forward. "Sophie, where are you, beautiful?" The metal door slammed shut and my cousin Max locked it. Tate spun around and saw Max blocking the exit. He ran for a side door, but Mike stepped out, then toward a window, but my other cousin appeared. I emerged from behind Sophie's car. His face went white and I could see sweat beading on his forehead as he realized he was trapped. His voice cracked as he tried to play it cool, saying this was all a misunderstanding and he was just giving Sophie a ride. Then he got angry, demanding to know where she was. Then the fear hit as we pulled out printed screenshots of every message, every fake account, records from his previous companies. I told him he had one choice: delete everything about Sophie, leave the state within 48 hours, and never work rideshare again. If he didn't, we'd send everything to the police, his employer, and every rideshare company's safety team. He started crying and agreed to everything. Tate left town within 10 hours, but we sent his real name and documentation to Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash, getting him blacklisted from all platforms. Sophie could finally take rides without fear.